5 Negative Consequences of Sleeping Badly. Have you heard of the terrible consequences of sleeping badly? Believe it or not, sleeping well is one of the most beneficial practices when talking about maintaining your health. Sleeping is so important for the development of human beings that it's recommended that you sleep a minimum of 8 hours per night, when your job is during the day. However, quality sleep only centers on the length of your sleep, but also its quality. In this article, we'll take a look at the consequences of improper sleep. Pay attention. Negative consequences of sleeping badly. Based on the previous information, we're going to show the worst consequences of not sleeping like you should. Bad dietary habits. This might seem a little out of context. However, not getting good rest while you sleep affects your diet a lot. Thus, people who lack sleep tend to eat excessive amounts of food. In doing this, obesity increases along with diseases associated with this problem. This increase in body weight happens because of the intense desire to eat foods that are not very healthy. These are usually rich in calories and carbohydrates. A lack of concentration. In addition, people with bad sleep habits have a higher likelihood of losing focus more easily. Because of this, not sleeping for the length or with the quality necessary influences your senses. In other words, your hand-eye and foot-eye coordination aren't the best. Following this train of thought, the best thing to do is to avoid complex jobs if you haven't slept well or enough. You also shouldn't put your physical integrity at risk. Emotional imbalances. There is the possibility of noticing quick changes in the way that tired people react after poor sleep. By not sleeping well, they tend to be in a bad mood. This is because the regions in charge of controlling your brain are activated only 60 when you don't get enough sleep. Physical deterioration. This consequence is one of the most worrying ones. This is especially true for people who focus on their physical appearance. Aesthetics are relevant to many people. However, there are some who place a lot of importance on their appearance. Naturally, this is one of the aspects that is affected by not sleeping well. One of the functions of sleep is repair. During the night hours, your body is tasked with making your skin look better. It also nourishes and moisturizes your tissues. Because of this, when you don't sleep adequately, this process is hindered. Then, it can cause a gradual deterioration of your skin. Not sleeping increases your likelihood of suffering from heart disease. Your cardiovascular system is one of the most affected when you don't have good sleep-related habits. In the first place, a bad diet caused by the problem causes collateral damage in your coronary valves. This is because they become obstructed by the levels of fats. In the second place, your heart is weakened by poor sleep habits. This is when you have a higher possibility of having a heart attack. How can you sleep well? To avoid the negative consequences we've listed through this article, there are a few things we'd like to emphasize. They are fundamental tips for increasing this very relevant need. Quality sleep can be very beneficial for your health, but only when it's done well. When talking about sleep quality, it's recommended that you find a comfortable place with little light. Time. You shouldn't forget that even though there is comfort or quality, if you don't have enough time, sleeping doesn't do anything. Experts recommend a minimum of 6 hours of sleep per night and a maximum of 9.